Today, we're going to dive into a case study that really shows how big data stops being just some buzzword and starts becoming a real engine for change. We'll see how it can flip a company from constantly putting out fires to actually getting ahead of them. So let's jump right in. Welcome from Nexus. In this chapter, we're going to see firsthand how a business can stop drowning in a sea of customer feedback and instead start using that feedback as its sharpest competitive tool. It's a huge shift from looking in the rearview mirror to seeing what's right in front of you in real time. All right, so to really appreciate the new way of doing things, we have to understand just how painful the old way was. Our case study is a car rental company, and believe me, they were collecting tons of customer feedback, but they were completely overwhelmed by it. This quote right here just perfectly captures the chaos. I mean, can you imagine sitting on a gold mine of customer intelligence, but having no tools to actually dig it up? The whole process was manual, which meant every manager had their own little system, their own biases. It was totally inconsistent, and frankly, it was broken. So let's break down just how broken it was. Responses took forever because a person had to read every single comment. The analysis was all over the place because you had different managers interpreting things differently. And here's the real kicker. They were completely blind to the bigger patterns. A nagging problem at one specific rental location could just fester for weeks before anyone even noticed. So that leads us to the billion-dollar question, right? How do you take that absolute fire hose of unstructured data, all those emails, survey comments, and texts, and turn it from a huge headache into your single biggest asset? Well, the answer, as you've probably guessed, lies in big data analytics. And this is where the big transformation really kicks off. The company needed a completely new way to listen, a way to automatically and consistently see what was inside all that text. And to do that, they needed two core technologies. First up, we have text analytics. Now, for an audience of CS students, the absolute best way to think about this is like a compiler, but for human language. It takes all that messy, unstructured text as input and transforms it into a clean, structured format that a machine can actually understand and analyze, pulling out all the key topics and concepts. The second piece of this puzzle is sentiment analysis. This adds that crucial layer of emotional context. So it doesn't just see that a customer mentioned wait times, it understands how they feel about the wait times. Were they happy, furious, or just neutral? It's all about finding the opinion, the emotion, hidden inside the data. And here it is. This is the real aha moment. This table is where all the magic happens. You're seeing the brand new, structured data from the text and sentiment analysis being merged with the company's existing data. Things like customer ID or what tier they're in. All of a sudden, you can see that your gold tier customers are having a really negative experience with a specific issue. Now that is powerful, actionable intelligence. Okay, so now let's pop the hood and take a look at the architecture that you need to handle this much data in all its different forms. How does the tech that powers all this actually work? A traditional relational database is just the wrong tool for this kind of job. Its rigid schema demands that all data fit neatly into predefined boxes. And that's the absolute enemy of messy, unpredictable customer comments. This is where NoSQL databases come in and shine. They're schemaless, so they can swallow up all kinds of varied data without a problem. And they're built to scale horizontally, which just means you can keep adding more cheap machines to the cluster as your data grows. It's essential. The engine driving a lot of this is often the Hadoop ecosystem. And you can think of its two main parts like this. HDFS is like a gigantic distributed hard drive built from a bunch of inexpensive computers to reliably store just massive amounts of data. And MapReduce, that's the programming model that lets you process all that data in parallel. It's kind of like having thousands of tiny computers all chipping away at a piece of the problem at the same time. It's the foundation for big-time data storage and analytics. So we've got the tech. Now let's get back to what really matters. How did this translate into actual business impact? How did this whole new system change the day-to-day reality for that car rental company? Just look at this new process. It's so clean, totally automated. Data comes in and gets analyzed instantly. The second a pattern of negative sentiment pops up, let's say a bunch of complaints about car cleanliness at the airport location, the system flags it. The local manager gets an alert on their phone and can go fix the problem that hour, not next month. They stop a wave of bad reviews before it even starts. That is the very definition of going from reactive to proactive.
And of course, this had a real measurable impact. Customer satisfaction scores shot up because problems were getting solved before they could escalate. The company finally had a crystal clear, data-driven view of how it was performing, and they could make changes with actual confidence. Now, this isn't just a story about one car rental company. This whole pattern, turning messy, unstructured text into real business value, is happening everywhere, across countless industries.
For instance, insurance companies are transcribing call recordings to figure out how to better serve their high-value customers. Banks are getting this 360-degree view of their clients by analyzing everything from internal notes to what people are saying on social media. Even fraud departments are connecting claim data with social media to spot suspicious patterns way earlier. The applications are just incredibly broad.
So if you take just one thing away from all this, let it be this. At its core, big data analytics is about creating a real-time, responsive feedback loop between a business and its customers. It's an intelligent communication channel that was basically impossible before now. And that brings us to the final thought. As you move forward in your careers, think about this kind of power. What process, in any field you can think of, is currently slow, manual, and reactive? And how could you apply these tools to make it fast, automated, and proactive? Really understanding this fundamental shift, from passively collecting data to actively and intelligently responding to it, is a huge part of modern computer science. And as you think about those processes you could transform, you're already starting to decide what is the next chapter in your learning journey.